What is going on, everybody? This is Started Gaming, and we're gonna do a little review. It's gonna be a 3 video review, or no, it's gonna be more than that because there's a few weapons that came out with the Angels of Zariman. Uh, we have the Phenmor, we have the Ultranox, the Airlock. I think that was all the primaries. Secondaries, we have the Latum, and mainlys we have the Praetos, and we also have the Hespar to go over. So we're gonna start this video out with going over the Phenmor. Now, the Phenmor, Latum, and Praetos are part of a new weapon set called Evolving Weapons. And to test these out, I did purposely make a Pagan Rhino here with just nothing on them to show you the base damage. For all of these, we're gonna go nothing on them, and then we're gonna swap to my build. So base, you have a 20% crit, which is nice. 20% status, nice. You have that 2.0 crit multiplier, which is really nice. So you can make yourself a nice little hybrid build, and that's for your main damage. Your main mode. This actually comes with 2 modes. So there's your Incarnon form, which is your evolution form, and then your regular mode. So this is the damage output for your Incarnon mode. Practically the same stats, but you also get a little bit of radiation, so you lose the puncture. So you're not going puncture slash anymore, you're actually going radiation and slash, which is really kind of neat. So the way that the I'll get some heavy Eximus as well, because for a good reason. The way that these Incarnon weapons work is there's a little meter. You see it right below the reticle, and as you do headshot damage, you just need to land headshots. That meter fills, and you get a nice little like cry. Right? You press your middle mouse or your alternate fire, and then it turns into the evolution, which is at the bottom right hand corner. You can see it says Incarnon form. One of the downsides is if you press it again and you're not letting it run itself out, you lose the entire bar or whatever was left. So that's one of the downsides to having, or to accidentally pressing it, right? But altogether, I mean, no mods in it. That's already 2 stacks, 3 stacks, 4 stacks, 5. And I'm filled up on my Incarnon form. He's at level 160. It doesn't have great fire rate with no mods. I mean, you can hear me clicking. Let's see. It doesn't have great, amazing. But it does have a 45 mag and like a 600 alt. So then you have your second form, which, remember now, we're no longer proccing a puncture damage. We are only proccing slash and radiation now, right? And it kind of turns into a machine gun. And what's strange, and you can see how much bleed, how much fucking slash look at that. So much slash. And you can see as I'm firing, the bar is going down and down and down. So once that bar is down, you actually go back into your non-Incarnon form. And I think you get an average, I think it's 480 rounds in a full bar of Incarnon. I think that's what it was, and it can be increased now, I believe, by adding magazine size, which is nice. See, and then it swaps back to your regular Incarnon form, and then you just do headshots again. Boom. And if you noticed, let's see if you can hear it. It actually, unlike chain guns or mini guns in this game, like the Tenora, and the Denora Prime, it doesn't speed up. It actually spools down in fire rate. So if you take a close sound look, you hear it? Now super, super low. Now we let it cool down. And then there you go, you get your fire rate back up. And it takes it gradually decreases and you can stop. Back. And it goes back down. So you have a really high fire rate and then it kind of goes pop, 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 pop. It's a really, really neat weapon. It's actually become one of my favorites. And it's an interesting weapon in terms of how you would build it too. So as you rank up the Incarnon form, right, your evolutions, each node, except for the first one, you get to pick 3 different categories, and you can change these at any time. So for me, I went with projectile speed, magazine capacity, plus status minus critical chance. And I'll get back to that for a second. And it's actually going to pop up in this next node. 50% chance to deal 2,000% damage on non-critical hits. You see where this is going? You could build this for crit and status all day long if you really wanted to. But you're not going to get the damage you want. Ironically, well not really, but differently with this weapon is you avoid going critical. Which I guess for some people would make them confused. But if you think about it, it's not all that confusing or surprising. So the projectile speed is important because it's a projectile weapon. It's not a hit scan weapon. You know, so you need projectile speed, so you can hit those farther shots if a target is moving. Right? Maximum ammo capacity, super super nice because of your Carnon form. You get more bang for your buck. You can hold that form longer and just keep going. Minus critical chance plus status chance. From what I understand, it doesn't actually pop up as you can see. It pops up after the fact. It's an additive, right? So really, you can go negative critical chance, which is something you want. Because of the 5th evolution. The 5th evolution gives you that 2,000% damage on non-critical hits. You can build for status all day long. It's fine. In fact, you want to build for status. You want that proc of viral and slash or viral heat slash or corrosive or whatever you're going against, right? So that's where my build comes in, and we'll talk about what you want for a Riven as well. This isn't a perfect Riven, but for what I use, it suits me way too well. I'm a lot better off with this Riven than I should be. So we'll go back to my build now. You notice I'm actually down to a 7.8% crit chance. That is because of my Riven. Alright, I'm up to a 70.5% status, and I was messing around with this stuff. Usually I'd run like corrosive because I mostly go against Grenier, personally. I can't fucking corrosive. Hold on. There we go. Pop that out. Throw in your Bane mod. Shred. You get that punch through. Oh, yeah, that's right. Your alternate fire, your Incarnon form, gives you extra punch through as well. It's a single target weapon, but if there's bodies stacking on top of each other, you just plow right through it. Your Bane mod is super important for that high tier shit. When you're reaching level cap and shit like that. Galvanized Aptitude. I never run this thing, but I have been on this because I'm not using any critical. You would think, oh, well, I'll use a galvanized scope. Well, no, you won't, because you don't want your critical chance. You want your critical chance to be non-existent, right? You want this thing to only shoot non-crits to get that extra damage buff. And that's one of the things, like, for this gun, running a Smedikavat with Charm could be a detriment to your damage output, because you can get orange crits and yellow crits, sometimes even red crits. If you build it for that sort of thing for weapons. But you don't want critical hits because it decreases your damage. Your overall damage gets decreased by 2,000% over that. Oh, it's like 2,500% in some cases. Galvanized chamber, really nice. You get that little bit of multi-shot and you're killing shit all day long, dude. So you're getting an additional, what, 5 times 3, it's 150% multi-shot for 20 seconds, plus the 80% that the galvanized chamber already gives you. You know? Like, that's just, that is just damage per bullet you're throwing out. If you figure each bullet is, what, doing 805.1 damage base, right, with this build, with 150 plus 80 multi-shot. We come down here, you're throwing out 3 different kinds of, you're throwing out radiation for this build, it's corrosive and heat plus slap. That's 4 different, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 different types of statuses you're throwing out there. So much. So that's also so much direct damage per status type. You're for the, come on. 30, this isn't even maxed out, but 36.4 direct damage per status type affecting the target for 20 seconds times 2. That is 72.8% direct damage added onto that 50% chance to get 2,000% damage on a non-crit hit. The numbers just fly through the fucking roof. Terminal velocity. It's what I personally use. Some people will tell you to go different. Okay? I personally like terminal velocity. You don't need you don't need a rifle ammo mutation. Okay? Stabilizer, I guess you could use because it does jump a little bit. It does jump. So stabilizer would be nice. But terminal velocity to make sure you get that projectile speed, because again, it's a projectile weapon. It is not a hit scan weapon. You know? And then we get to the Riven. Riven disposition of, it's actually a half, not 1.5, but just 0.5. From what I've been told. So you have really crappy luck with these Rivens. What you want to go for is practically anything with negative status chance, or not a negative status chance, negative critical chance. You don't want critical chance in your life. This thing is allergic. We'll be sent to the hospital for just anacritiallergic shock. Because it crit. It killed itself because it crit. So here's my Riven. And I've been re-rolling it, trying to get a little bit of a better, roll, but it is a +3 -1, right? Projectile speed, so it's even more projectile speed with terminal velocity and the evolution that I picked. That slash damage, so you're getting, you're bleeding these guys dry. Your reload speed. Your reload speed affects how fast you go into your Incarnon form. So the more reload speed, the better. And then the minus critical chance. I know it says a 7.8, but I've been talking to people and they're saying, well, no, you actually have negative critical chance. Meaning there is no possibility of me critting. And I was like, what? Yeah. Because it's additive at the end. You know, that plus 20, minus 10 that I have? It's additive. Primary Merciless. Plus 30% damage for 4 seconds, stacks up to 12 times. You get a reload speed, which is even more, and 100% maximum ammo. So you get more in your reserve for your main gun. Maximum ammo does not affect your Incarnon form. From what I understand and when I've talked to people, it does not affect your Incarnon form. The only thing that affects your Incarnon form is mag size. Right? I think base it's your Incarnon form is either 240 or 480. Something like that. And then you get that 50%. So, I mean, you're just throwing down all sorts of just energy projectile hate. You know, so we'll use this, and I'll show you what it's about. And I purposely picked Bazarin. That way there wasn't any, because I don't actually have this tree very filled out. But yeah, and then I'll show you how I use the Phenmor as well. So we'll go off of testing Rhino here and go to a legit frame that I use. So, Garner form up. And I purposely picked the Eximus units because that overguard is bonkers. Look at that. These are level 160s. You know, you have that rifle aptitude, you have the primary merciless going, you have the split chamber. And you see all those ticks. I mean, let's see if I can get 4,000, 3,000, 66,000, 19 for a fire. It's 80. Gone. And then we'll go over here, use my Carno Farm. Look how fast that transformed. That's insane. Right? And then like, come on. And like I said, you can charge your Incarnon farm pretty quick. 2 shots. 2 shots to the head, and I already charged it. Because it's not just how many headshots you get. Remember that. It's not the amount of headshots you get. It's the how much damage you do to the head on headshots. Okay? So if you build this and you just say, I don't feel like doing the damage, and you just build it for like fire rate, well, you're gonna have a hell of a time trying to get, you know, that meter built up. And I think there's a way to help you with one of the nodes. Like you gain Incarnon form 50% faster. I don't have it because I'm fine with both variants here, you know, with my build. But I actually use Wisp because of that fire rate buff, you know. And I'll show you my Wisp build. I use this one. Energy Siphon, Power Adrift, Transient Fortitude, Umbral Intensify, Blind Rage, Amar's Hatred, Prime Continuity, Fast Deflection, because why not? Adaptation. She's a little bit squishy, even with her reservoirs. Infused Reservoir. Now, I mean, mostly I'll use this for like index and stuff like that. And then you have some more really nice new arcanes. They're not maxed out, as you can see, but Molt Vigor and Operator ability, 27% ability strength on next Warframe cast. Beautiful. Beautiful. Especially for Wisp. So I have 305 strength, right? Add 27% to that. You know? I mean, let's look. This is my stats for my reservoirs. 91% fire rate, 61% speed multiplier, 91.5 health a second, 915 max health added, right? Buff duration of 39 seconds. It's not too terribly long, but with Wisp, you're not going to be leaving the area for very long anyway. So what's great about this setup is the way that Molt Vigor works. I mean, I get buffed up to 105% fire rate, I think, and buffed up to 99 health a second. I think that's what the numbers were. And then you have mold efficiency. When shields are active, gain 2% ability duration per second up to 12%. That's at rank 1. Rank 5, 6% up to 36%, right? For Vigor, 45% ability strength on next Warframe ability cast. You know how great this is? You know, for a lot of different people. And then I actually swapped out her 2 for Zada's Whisper. Because void damage. Void damage is true damage. There is no resistance to it. You know, and it kind of acts as a separate instance of damage as well. Void damage is so key right now, I believe. There's this is why I run Wisp the way she is. And it's the reason I brought in the Eximus units. Eximus units, the Overguard. And this goes for the Thrax too. Overguard is weak to void damage. It is weak to void damage. Right? So why would you not run something with void damage? Yeah, you could use your operator, and you know, I personally use, I've been using Moderai, right? Because operator damage is nice, considering they made operators more viable since the change. So we'll get 20 more Eximus corrupted heavy gunners, right? So I'll show you the standard for what I run. Top right hand corner, 91%, 61%, right? Not a very large range. And then I'll go into my operator, right? And in fact, I'll even show you. See how fast that shield's going down? And this isn't like a max amp or nothing like that. I prefer this amp for dealing with Thrax units and shit like that. But now I'm up to 99 and 66. And then I can go back, press this, press number 2. Shield gone. Shield gone. Shield gone. Gone. Destroyed, obliterated. Right? And then we do some shenanigans like this. Incinerated. It's beautiful. And I mean, we can... Let's see, I think it's the Jugulus actually has more armor and stuff. It's a different kind of armor. It's fossils. Right, and then we'll go in here. We'll even swap it to... You know what? No. We'll keep it. I won't even change the Bane mod. We'll see how fast, because I don't think I've actually done this yet. Oh, actually, you know what? We'll do that, and we'll do this. still takes forever, even with the amount of fire rate I have, you know? I mean, this thing can shred angels. This thing can shred acolytes. Like it does not matter. It does not matter. I mean, 160. That's a pretty average. It's a pretty average steel path enemy. You know, it's like your beginning of steel path, and it doesn't matter. I mean, you can mod for whatever faction you want. It does not matter. You know, if you need magnetic damage, you can mod for magnetic. If you need gas, you can mod for gas. If you need corrosive, mod for corrosive. If you just want to go viral, mod for viral. Throw your Bane mod on and have fun. Go to town. You know, this gun has so much it can do for a weapon that you don't want crit on. You know, that I guess you could build hybrid, but you don't want to. I mean, you legitimately don't want to. You know? And I'll return to Orbiter, and then we'll go to the Chrysalis, and I'll show you. I'm gonna take a drink here. I will show you the different nodes and why I kind of picked the ones I picked. I mean, you could see why I picked the ones I picked. But it's just like, yeah, but what about these nodes or this node? It's like, well, if you look at it, you know, eh, eh. So, by the way, this is the Chrysalis. That's where you spawn in at, you know. Unless you fast travel to it, I believe, and then you spawn at good old Mr. Quill over here, or Quinn. But you want to come to my favorite character, Cavallero. Cavallero is actually where you're going to get everything. You're going to get the Praetos, you're going to get the Phenmor, you're going to get the Latum. You're going to get all of the new arcanes at rank 5. You know, you can get all the new arcanes. You can also farm them from angels and Thrax units as well, so keep that in mind. But they are a little pricey to build, you know? So, like for the Phenmor, you need the 20 plume quills, you need the 20 pinion or 15 pinions, so you need to kill 15 angels to get this, right? But we're looking at is the Evolve Incarnon, right? So, rank 1, you can't do anything. It's just to let you, swap between. Rank 2, I went for projectile speed, but you can get Rapid Wrath, which is your fire rate, or Void's Guidance, which is less recoil while aiming, and accuracy both at 50%. If you really have a hard time with the recoil is not too terrible. But if you have a hard time with it, you can go for this. If you really want projectile speed, it's just nice because it is a projectile-based weapon. Evolution 3, you have the choices between Retribution's Vessel, which is what I picked, the magazine's capacity. Ready Retaliation, which gets you that reload speed for 6 seconds from empty. But it's already been tested. Even if you get this, it's slower to swap into your form. Because to get that buff, you have to wait until your gun is completely empty. And you don't want to do that. As soon as that Incarnon form goes, you can pop your, Oh, see, actually, there we go. It shows it here. Sorry, sidetrack. I'm at negative 2.2% crit chance. And a 90.5% status. That's insane. I don't know why it doesn't show it anywhere else, but it shows it here. That's whatever. But yeah, anyway. Reload speed's great, but if it's based on the fact you have to have an empty mag, that sucks. And you end up slowing yourself down. On headshot kill, 20% chance on an instant reload. It sounds great. It's not. A, you have to get the kill on the headshot. B, it doesn't work on the Incarnon form. Your bar doesn't go instantly back up. Whether that's a bug or a quote feature, I don't know. But it doesn't work on the Incarnon form, which is really, really sad. Evolution 4. Yeah, 3 different ones here too. The one I picked, Elemental Access, 20% critical chance, minus 10% critical chance. Again, that's the one I picked. You may think different. If you do, let me know your build. You know, and we can compare and see what's going on. Incarnon Efficiency. This isn't actually a terrible pick. If you're having trouble hitting your headshots, if you're having trouble building that meter, headshot build 50% more Incarnon Transmutation Charge. You know, it builds that bar quicker. I mean, personally, if I get a headshot on one of those guys, I fill it up in, what, 2 shots? So I'm not too terribly worried about it. I mean, I'm terrible at hitting headshots, but when I do, it fills the bar. Survivor's Edge. 10% critical chance, 10% status. Again, you don't want critical chance. You want to be allergic to critical chance. You know, to really get the damage out of this. Because it doesn't have one of the nodes on the last one like the Latum does. Otherwise, it would be nice to make this duel. And then you have number 5. Right? So, Devouring Attrition, which is that 50% critical chance, or 50% chance to deal 2,000 damage on non-critical hits. Right? Huge damage output. Spiteful Defilement. Enemies suffering from fewer than 3 statuses will receive 100% critical damage. This would be nice if you're doing that critical chance build, you know, like a lot of people do anyway, or a dual build. But the problem is you have to get fewer than 3 status effects, and then they get the 100% critical damage. Oof. And then you have Lingering Judgment on 2 headshots within 2 seconds, 50% headshot damage for 8 seconds. 50% headshot damage compared to 2000% damage. Even more than that if you get a headshot. I'm still gonna wander back over to Devouring Attrition. Overall, that does the most damage, you know? And the fact that you can build for status is fine. It's completely fine. You know? When it comes to a Riven, you want negative critical chance. If you can get plus status chance, or plus damage on it, phenomenal. You know, I haven't gotten that yet. I'm still rolling and rolling and rolling for it. But this is what I would choose. Projectile speed, mag size, forgo the critical chance, send it into the Shadow Realm, get rid of it. You don't want it. And then make sure you get that 50% chance to deal 2,000 damage. It's insane. You know? And with my build here, here's the stats. Overall, it doesn't look like it's doing much. It doesn't. But when you build for a specific, the specific faction you're doing, which I'm personally not one to usually do that. But this gun has been so much fun, and I've got 6 formula in this thing. 6. I don't do that. I don't forma things unless I like it. So the fact that it's got 6 forma in it, it should say something. This has become my favorite primary weapon in the game. Hands down, my favorite primary weapon in the game. It just does so much damage and can shred anything you put in front of it. It doesn't matter. This has become probably the best primary weapon in the game. You know, because of its versatility, because of its damage output overall. You know, the evolution forms are so great. Some of them are mediocre. You know, or like, oh, why would you pick that over this? But overall, they're pretty good. You know, I think it's got each node except for the first one has an option for everybody on how you want to build the Fenmore. And that's the thing. I'm not saying this is the best build for the Fenmore. There's probably people out there that have min-maxed the crap out of this thing. Right? I'm showing you what I've done, why it's my favorite, and why I've picked the build that I've picked. You know, if you have anything different, leave it in the comments below. Tell me like, okay, well, you know, I've experienced this with the Fenmore in my build, and then tell me what your build is. You know, show me. I do want to know because I want to compare and contrast and see how I could better my build or how we could better each other's build. I think it'd be neat. But yes, buy, kill, repeat. But there you go. There's my Fenmore build. There's the reason that I'm loving this thing. Out of 10, I'd rate it 10 out of 10. Hands down, 10 out of 10 weapon. Um, best weapon that probably came out with this update. Personally, but some people will disagree with that, and the reason for that I think will be the next video because I'm going to delete them. And I'll see you guys on the next one. So, see ya.